Welcome to day 9 of Just Start Programming, creating console and terminal apps using Rust and Ratatouille. So today we'll continue with dynamic layouts, rendering UIs, displaying text, and styling text. So join me once again live in one take, no shortcuts and no secrets. So let's just start programming. Alright, welcome once again. So last time we stopped somewhere. Collapse borders in layout. Or I think we haven't done this part. Let me just go and check the source code, or maybe we can just run it. Okay, so this is where we are last time. So this one, we have the pop-up, some background, although we failed to show the extended ASCII. Yeah, it was a nice try. Maybe one of these days I'll figure out how to display that. But for today, let's continue with the topic which is there in the Ratatouille tutorial. So let's continue with this. So we have left block where you have the border. And then you also have the top right block and then the bottom right block. And here, yeah, so the space here was minimized. Yeah, so that's the topic for today, collapse borders. So let's try this out. Collapse borders. Where was our border? Render pop-up. Render and then render widget. Okay, we don't need the grid for now. Let's comment this out. Okay, so this is the left, right, top right, and bottom right. So we did a little bit of styling here also. And then render, okay, we don't need the render pop-up. Bottom right, so let's see. Okay, so now let's try this one. Draw left and right, so maybe we can follow this part. Okay, so this is where we can put it. This is from the sample Ratatouille source code, which we just insert some of the things here from the tutorial. So instead of following draw something like this, we'll just copy this part and then place it here. So over here, this section here. Oops. Let's use VI commands. And let's comment this for now. Okay, let's run this one and see. I think this is the original where we don't have the collapsed borders. Okay, so how do we transform this to have collapsed borders? We can do better though by collapsing borders. Example, this one. The first thing we need to do is work out which borders to collapse, because in the layout above we want to connect the bottom right block to the middle vertical border. Okay, it's referring to this part. We're going to need this to be rendered by the top left and bottom. What is this? Top left and bottom left blocks rather than the right block. Okay, so left block, it is this one, top left. It should be to be rendered by, should be top right and bottom right of the left block. Okay, so let's see. We need to use the symbols module to achieve this, so we add this to the imports. So this plus here is like the git diff where you have this one being added. So let's see, in Ratatouille we have symbols. Okay, so it's not there. Maybe I can just append it here. Symbols. Okay, that's the first one, and then our first change is to the left block. Yeah, so this left block. Don't render the right border because it will be rendered by the right block. Okay, so the left block, right border, we're going to need this to be rendered by left block, top right border and bottom right. I think that's the one that needs to be, yeah, I think this sentence here needs to be modified a bit. Okay, anyway, since we are doing it together, let's copy this one. Left block. Where's left block? Can we insert it here? Left block, title left block. It should be this part. So okay, so what we can do is we insert it here. Left block, area left. Okay, so this is the widget. This is the widget, so it means we copy this part. And then So we're adding left block as a widget here, area left. Okay, so let's check this one. There. So what do we have? Borders top, left, and bottom. So top, left, and bottom. So we don't have a border here. And if you notice, there's a space in between here. Okay, so let's continue. Next, we see that the top left corner of the top right block joins with the top right corner of the left block. So we need to replace that with a T shape. We also see omit the bottom border, as that will be rendered by bottom right block. We use a custom symbols border set to achieve this. Okay, so we need the top right border set and the top right block. So let's copy this one. We can put it here after the left block. So then top right border set is used here, and then the top right block, so we're replacing this part. Let's comment out this one. Right block. Okay, there. Let's run it. How was the T created? How was it created? Okay, so top right border set, top left symbols line. So these are the options. Normal, vertical is this one, horizontal, top right. And then we're using horizontal down. So horizontal down is the T, okay. Horizontal up, cross. And then what do we have here? Plane, border plane. Border set, so usually you have top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, vertical, left. But in this case, the rest is plain. Okay. And then here, top right block, so top right border set and borders top, left, and right. top, left, and right. So bottom was not included. Okay. Next, what can we do next? In the bottom right block, we see that the top right corner joins the left block's right border. So we need to render this with a horizontal T shape pointing to the right. We need to do the same for the top right corner and the bottom left corner. Let's run it again and see. Bottom right block. Top right corner joins the left block's right border. Top right corner. Okay, I think it should be in the bottom right block, the top left corner should be top left corner. Joins the left block's right border. Yeah, so that's correct. Right border. So we need to render this with a horizontal T. So just like this one. Horizontal T. Pointing to the right. So it should be like this. Okay. We can see that from here. When we add the code, let's see. Let's just append it here. Okay, so let's see. Symbols, normal, vertical right. Vertical right. Yeah, so this is the one. Top left. And then the top right is normal, vertical left. Okay. Then bottom left, normal, horizontal up. Bottom left. Okay. So something like this. This one will have like this. And this one will have like this. Okay, so that's for the border set, bottom right block. So this one will be replacing. Right block. Okay, let's see. There. Yep, so it looks collapsed now. Okay. Finally render the blocks. Yeah, so I think we also did this part here. Okay. If we left it here, then we'd mostly be fine. But in small areas, we notice that the 50-50 split no longer looks right. This is due to the fact that by default we round out when splitting an odd number of rows or columns into examples. 5 rows to 2.5, 2.5, 3 over 2. Five rows. Oh, okay. So in 5 rows, it's not exactly 50-50, but it will look like 2.5 will look like 3, and 2.5 the right will look like 2. This is fine normally, but when we collapse borders between blocks, the first block has 1 extra row or columns, as it does not have the collapse block. You can easily work around this issue by allocating a small amount of extra space to the last layout item by using 4951, or okay, so this is if you only have two columns, but if you have 3, so it's actually 33, 33, 33. In this case, you can have 34 here. Okay, so the split should be 4951. Let's see. Okay, so this part here needs to be split into 49 and 51. Okay, so let's comment this out. And we use this one. There's a slight difference here. Okay. Okay, so that's collapse borders. Okay, let's move on. Dynamic layouts. With real-world applications, the content can often be dynamic. For example, a chat application may need to resize the chat input area based on the number of incoming messages. To achieve this, you can generate layouts dynamically. Okay, so there's a function get layout based on messages. Then you have size, unsigned size, and then you have a reference of a frame, and it returns RC. RC is a reference count. Then you have rectangle. Then you have message percentage equals to if message count is greater than 50, then percentage is 80. So if message count is less than 50, else, it's going to be 50. Okay, and then the layout vertical constraints, you have message percentage. So you have two constraints. One is whatever's the value here. So it could be 80, it could be 50. And the other side would be, yeah, so 100 minus this value. Then it will do a split. Okay, and you can even update the layout based on some user input or command. Input or command. Okay, so I think this code snippet is incomplete. Yeah, so I think this is just for reference. As the handling of the input is not added here, but I think it's just for reference that, okay, say for example, you have, you press something, increase size, and then you have the percentage to be adjusted. And then you have this. Okay, so this part is actually this part here. Okay, so let's try this one out. Let's copy this and put it here. Where can we put our function? Yeah, so we can append it here. Okay, so how do we use this? This one is render where you have the frame. Okay, render where you have the frame. So same as render pop-up. Self render pop-up frame. That is frame, but we need to use it in our top left and the UI that we have here. So the layout 4951, this becomes it should be here. Okay, so how do we do that? Direction vertical. This is horizontal. Okay, so I think we'll make use of this. Can do, let me copy this one first. Let's comment this out. So it should return rectangle. This one is returning RC. I think what we can do is first we need to change it to horizontal. Horizontal. Okay, let's change this to horizontal. Horizontal. Horizontal, and then I don't want RC, but can we just return the layout? Maybe we can change it a little bit. Let's change this to okay, so this one will complain. Because of the split layout is only until here, so maybe we can delete this part. Frame F. Okay, so F is not used anywhere, so maybe we can remove this one. Okay. Layout. So here, this is layout. Okay, so this entire line is layout. Maybe what we can do is use that function, get, no, should be self, get layout based on messages, so that we will have layout, then areas, frame area. Okay, let's try it with a compile. Okay, so message count. Just message count. View size. Okay, so let's let message count to 50. Okay, so if it's 50, it's not more than 50, so it's 50. If it's more than 50, then it will be 80. Okay, so let's try this one first. I think this one is just 50, 50. Yeah, so it will look exactly the same as what we have earlier. If we change view size to something more than 50, so more than 50, 51. 51 is more than 50. Let's see. Yeah, so it takes up 80% now. makes up 80%. Yeah, so if this one is 49, so it should be 50. Okay, so that's how it can be dynamic. So let's put this back into 51. Yeah, so slight modification. Okay, so it's just to illustrate that if you have some parameter here, it can change the constraint. I think if we go with the RC implementation, it will become complex. Yeah. So this is the simplest way, I would say. That works as well. Okay, so let's move on with, yeah, this one we don't have the enough code to test this out, but I think the idea is there. So action increase size, the percentage is set here. Okay, let's move on. Rendering. Render UIs. What do we have? So render UIs using display text, style text, and override regions. Well, override regions is the, yeah, so pop-up. Hopefully we'll have enough time to get to that as well. This is an interesting topic. Displaying text. This page covers how text displaying works. It will cover span, line, and text, and how this can be created, styled, displayed, altered, and such. Okay, so span. A span is a styled segment of text. You can think of it as a substring with its own unique style. It is the most basic unit of displaying text in Ratatouille. The examples below assume the following imports. Ratatouille preload and widgets. Okay, so let's check our input. Preload is here. Widgets. What do we need? Span. Okay, so maybe we can manually add span here also. Span. Text. Text span. Consider importing one of these structs instead. Create text span or Ratatouille text span. So, okay, so span shouldn't be here. So we add it here. Span. Okay, so span using span raw UI. So we have UI again. And let's span raw like this. Okay, so I think we only need to copy this part. and we plug it somewhere here. Render widget. Which widget? Left block. Okay, left block. Left block. How can we add span inside the block? Let's use some reference. Title text, render widget, paragraph. Okay, so paragraph. This is paragraph. Hello, Ratatouille. This is text. Okay, so text and paragraph. About span. How was it used? Okay, here. Maybe let's read through first. Okay, so span raw, span stylized. You can change the color. Span is the basic building block of any style text. Can be used anywhere text is displayed. Okay, anywhere text is displayed. Text is displayed. Here you have text. Text is inside a paragraph. Okay, so paragraph, new text, block. Title. Can we put it inside title? Can we put it inside title? Say left block, because it says span okay, so for example, span hello. It's added inside line. Line is inserted inside text. Text is inside block. Okay, so maybe this is how it's going to be used. So let's copy this one instead. And let's put it inside left block. Maybe let's insert it here. F render render widget. Just render widget. Frame render widget. Okay, let's see first how this looks. So this one is frame area. There. Hello world. Inside left block. Why was it inside left block? Okay, so we have hello as red, world as red that is bold. Is there a difference? Yeah, world is a bit thicker. Then, so the span is inserted as a vector inside a line. So a line can contain multiple spans. And then the line is inserted inside text. Okay, then when we render the widget, frame area, then you have a block bordered. Block bordered. Okay, so does it mean originally there's a block here, but it's overwritten by this one, left block? Yeah, could be. Could be. Okay, so why don't we relocate this? Frame, this is frame. It's also frame. Okay, so we'll comment out this part. So that will only display hello world with a border. Alright, so there you go, hello world. So the border occupied the entire terminal. So actually when you saw that there is this left block and right block, it was overwritten. Okay, so span, line, and text. So the span can be raw, styled, where you have this style. This is a text that will be yellow color. Okay, maybe let's copy this one and put it here, span 1. Let's make it span 1. And so that is the default. And then let's try this one. It should be yellow, style default, foreground, color yellow. Does it look yellow? It looks brown. Foreground color yellow. Style default. Can we make it bold? Bold. Maybe if we make it bold, then it will be bright yellow. Doesn't look bold. It looks bold, but it's still somehow it doesn't look yellow. It looks brown. Let's try a foreground, maybe background. Let's see, BG, then color white. Maybe if it's white, it will look more yellow. Doesn't look yellow, it looks brown, brownish. Or maybe it's just the terminal. Not sure. Yeah, but I think let's take it as it is. Maybe it's yellow. Okay, so what else can we do? Oh, there's another one, yellow. Maybe this one will really look like yellow. Maybe let's use span 2 instead. Span 2 yellow. Let's see. It's the same. It's the same. Okay, so that is for span. Then line, what's in line? The next building block that we're going to talk about is a line. A line represents a cluster of graphemes, where each unit in the cluster can have its own style. You can think of an instance of the line struct as essentially a collection of span objects. Since each line struct consists of multiple span objects, this allows for varied styling in a row of words, phrases, or sentences. Okay. A line can be constructed directly from content, where the content is what is this? Into cow. Or line from hello world. Okay, so it can be constructed by text directly. So let's try it out. So here, instead of vect, hello world. Okay, so a line can be constructed directly by a string. Yeah, okay, so I think this part is this one, which I don't understand yet. Yeah, so let's just remember that string can be directly added here. You can even style a full line directly. Okay, so style, line styled yellow. So let's try this one. Does it look yellow? It doesn't look yellow. Because of this. There. And you can use the stylize straight on the line directly by using into. Okay, so into, I think, related to this. Let's see. Let's see, what does it return into? Okay, into. So convert. So actually into, why is it cow? I think this should be, I'm not sure if there's into and then there's convert. This conversion is whatever the implementation of from T for you choose to do. I'm not sure if there's a typo here. Maybe it should be convert into then convert. Okay, so anyway, that is from string slice to styling and then into line. Okay, next. Finally, you can also align it using alignment. Alignment center. Okay, let's try this one. Center. Alignment center. Okay, there. Let's resize. But the alignment is here at the top. Or you can do shorthand. Okay. Line. Okay. Yeah, so it's the same. And then text. Yeah, I think we already tried this. Text is the final building block of outputting text. Text object represents a collection of lines. Most widgets accept content that can be converted to text. Okay, so span into line into text, finally text into paragraph. You have a block. Paragraph will have a block. Okay, here's an HTML representation of what you get in the terminal. This is black. Actually, that one we saw it was white. Maybe if we follow this, yeah. But the border earlier was white. Often code like the one above can be simplified. Okay. How can it be simplified? Line. Okay, so line and then this part, hello world. So instead of creating a variable, it's just inserted here. Then you can have a space also like this, into world, into line, into is the conversion. Then finally line is here. So instead of text, paragraph can contain lines as well by using into. This is because in this case Rust is able to infer the types and convert them appropriately. Text instances can be created using raw or styled constructors too. Something you might find yourself doing pretty often for a paragraph is wanting to have multiple lines styled differently. This is one way you might go about that. Okay, so maybe let's try this one and see. So instead of app, use frame. And then maybe comment out this part so that it will not show up. There. So different styles and different lines. Okay, so but how come hello world is here below 2 and 3? Is that done? Okay, so per line, so that one will have a, I think it will have a, some sort of a line feed, since we are treating this per line. Oh, the highlight is also different. This is white, this is blue, and green. So by default, when you highlight it, it's based on the foreground color. I think this one, green may not be entirely accurate. Yeah, because you can see, you run it, there's no space. And there's no space. Okay, we'll talk more about styling in the next section. As with line, a text can be aligned with alignment, shorthand, method, left aligned, centered, right aligned. Widgets using text internally will generally respect this. Note in the example below, you can override the alignment for a particular line. Okay, so let's try this out. So alignment for a particular line. This one. There. Left aligned, hello world 1, left aligned, hello world 2. So I think this one assumes the alignment here. And hello world 3, right aligned. We can try out maybe here. Is there a centered? Yeah, let's try that one. There, centered. Yeah, here it's centered, but oh, centered should be here. Centered is here. I think it behaved differently. Yeah, so there's a slight difference here. Yeah. So this part actually assumed this one. I don't know if it's a bug. Let's remove this. Maybe let's comment out this one just to be sure. And see. Nope. It doesn't look centered. So to make it center, you need to specify it here. Actually. And then it will match with this one. Yeah, so that's the difference by, if you have somebody with you, if you're doing pair programming, you read the documentation and you try it out. Sometimes it's not the same. Or even this part here, you don't have to do it this way. So if you're starting from scratch, it's also a bit difficult because you need to have some sort of a boilerplate code. So in this case, I was using the sample Ratatui once again, and I figured out that you can insert it from here since this is where rendering happens. So we're reusing the frame and with the pattern where you have frame, render widget, and then you can put any widget inside here. All right, let's move on. Styling text. Styling text, what can we do? Styling enhances user experience by adding colors, emphasis, and other visual aids. In Ratatouille, the primary tool for this is style. Okay, style, so you can use it for, I think we have done this before. Foreground, so FG for foreground, background, bold, italic, underline. Yeah, so you can have things like this. And another thing to note, yellow is not actually yellow for foreground. But in this case, maybe it will look yellow if it's background. So we try that one. How do we add in colors? Style. Okay, so let's try this one. Style text. Span. Maybe into. Then here. Comment on this one. Style text. Will it work? No, span. Span one can be added into line. So then a line can be added into text. Text into line. Into something like this. No. How was it done earlier? If you put just text here, you have blank. That text equals to text from line. Text. Okay, let's see. Okay, so background is yellow. Background is red. Red, yellow. Okay. Okay, so you can also have something like bold, like this, italic. You can combine modifiers, bold and italic. Okay. Styling within a line. Styling within a line. Mixed line. So you can do this kind of things. Okay, so this is what it would look like if you rendered a paragraph with different styles for each line. Different styles for each line, maybe. Let's just copy this and see how it looks. Frame. Frame. Okay, so let's see. There. Bold, and italic, mixed styling. Okay, so what I'm curious now is last time I wanted to do a Unicode ASCII. Hmm. Extended ASCII table box. Box drawing characters. Yeah, so this is Midnight Commander in Windows. I wonder if it will work in Linux. I know this will work because we have seen which one was it? I think this one, and so this one should work as well. Let's try. Let's see. There. It works. So it means can we try this? Or this one? Let's try this one. So I assume if we can type it here, copy it here like this, then it will show up in the terminal. Yes. Right. But somehow it looks a bit different. So can we try the other boxes? Maybe there's a slight difference if we use this. And what if we use this? And how about if we use this? Oh, there's a slight difference. Yeah, there's a space. How about this one? Then we can use this as like the shadow in the similar to the Norton this doctor. This one. Yeah, somehow these things here are the same probably. Not sure. Yeah, so it's something we can try out now that we know how to display this. I think the other day I was wondering how we can put it here, but then after seeing the what character was that in the collapsed, so that gave me a hint that yeah, maybe we can display something like this. Okay, so I think we don't have enough time. It's almost 1 hour and a half. What we can do next is, yeah, so we'll explore more on pop-ups next time. Maybe instead of displaying lorem ipsum dolor, so these fillers, maybe we can use these things instead. That would be interesting. And maybe we can play around putting in some shadow here. I think that would be the ultimate goal, to follow a UI that is similar to Norton this doctor. All right, so let's end here for now, and to see you again in the next video. Thank you so much. Before I end, let me thank my supporters.